Now at 5, it's a party in Kansas City as the Chiefs host their Super Bowl championship parade. Plus, we're going to check in with some Chiefs fans in Pittsburgh who gathered during their lunch breaks to watch the celebration and how the Newton County. Now the recreational use is legal in Missouri.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Chiefs fans packed Kansas City's Union Station and surrounding streets today to celebrate the Super Bowl champs. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The celebration began with a parade. A crowd in a sea of red lined the route through the heart of Kansas City to see their teams. Players, coaches, and other Chiefs dignitaries rode on double-decker buses, or in some cases walked, to cheers and confetti. The more than 2-hour parade ended at Kansas City's Union Station, where some Chiefs heroes spoke to the crowd.
I'll tell you what, there's some great cities in America, but there's no place you'd rather be and no greater place to be than right here, baby. You are the kingdom, and let's give it one for the world. How about those Chiefs?
Some Chiefs fans gathered for a lunch break at the Pit in Pittsburgh to watch the Chiefs parade. The staff believes a lot of people went to the parade, but those who are working got to support the Chiefs from the restaurant. A local longtime season ticket holder decided to use his lunch break to cheer for his favorite team.
As Chiefs fans, we haven't won in 40 years, and then we won the first one, and now it's the second one, and now we're kind of getting to the point where it's almost expected. So it's a good and bad feeling, but again, it's different.
Marshall says he's been a true fan since he was a teenager. Let's check in with meteorologist Sam Lane for a first look at the weather.
Thank you very much, Dow. It was a beautiful day up there, a little bit on the cool side for that parade, and you can see on radar right now we actually have some snow on radar up near Emporia. That is just a part of the story. The other part of the story is down further south, but you can see right now some snow showers extending from Emporia up to Burlingame up to Topeka. And that's all part of the storm system that's pulling out into the plains. And we're also watching some severe weather developing down along the Red River. So a little bit wider view shows the winter storm warning for northwestern Kansas, winter weather advisory from Wichita to Emporia to Kansas City, and a severe thunderstorm watch for parts of southern Oklahoma, and that goes until 10 o'clock tonight. So lots of active weather to talk about tonight. Looking down the lane, we have some evening storms in our forecast, turning much colder. In fact, an Arctic chill and mix is expected, and then the extended is going to be an active pattern, and we'll tell you all about that when we come back in just a bit.
See you soon. Now that recreational marijuana is legal in Missouri, marijuana cases are eligible to be expunged or dismissed. The Newton County prosecuting attorney says they're systematically reviewing cases for expungement.
So we have stopped receiving possession of marijuana cases on individuals that are possessing less than or more than 3 ounces is the new limit. So if it's more than 3 ounces, we're still receiving those cases. If it's less than 3 ounces, we are no longer receiving those cases.
According to the Missouri Supreme Court, more than 3,500 cases relating to marijuana have been expunged since the start of the month. Residents in Ohio remain reluctant to accept official advice that it's safe to return home following a train derailment 12 days ago. The accident in East Palestine sent toxic plumes of smoke into the air. Now people are complaining about respiratory issues, including burning eyes, as well as deceased wildlife as far south as the Ohio River. There are also urgent questions about how their concerns were handled. Lilia Luciano reports from Ohio.
I would be alert and concerned, but I think I would probably be back in my house.
That was Ohio Governor Mike DeWine's answer when he was asked whether he would move back home if he lived in East Palestine, Ohio, though he did offer caveats.
I think that I would be drinking the bottled water.
There have been numerous reports in recent days of respiratory issues, burning eyes, and dead wildlife, including at least 3,500 confirmed dead fish killed by contamination.
We don't have any evidence of non-aquatic species suffering from the derailment.
5 of the train cars were carrying vinyl chloride, a highly combustible chemical linked to a higher risk of some kinds of cancers. Crews conducted a controlled release of the carcinogen to reduce the risk of an explosion.
When you have combustion or burning, you create all sorts of different byproducts. It's important to understand to cast a wide net when you're testing, because you want to narrow out and rule out chemicals that could pose an acute health risk or linger around.
The governor and other officials lifted the town's evacuation order a week ago after health officials said air quality was back to acceptable levels and the city's main water supply, they said, was safe. 2 days after the evacuation order was lifted, the EPA said 3 additional hazardous chemicals were found on the derailed train cars.
This train apparently was not considered a high hazardous material train.
Yesterday, Governor DeWine revealed that since only 20 of the 150 cars contained hazardous materials, the company, citing federal law, was not required to notify the state of Ohio that the train had toxic chemicals on board.
Frankly, if this is true, and I'm told it's true, this is absurd.
Lilia Luciano, CBS News.
Still ahead, a taste of fame for some small businesses.
Smaller restaurants that are often overlooked are getting a boost from social media. I'm Michael George with how influencers are helping uncover hidden gems.
And next in Health Watch, what a new report shows about suicides among young people during the pandemic. Topping today's Health Watch, COVID can cause long-term damage to the lungs. Researchers looked at the lungs of people who developed COVID pneumonia 6 months, a year, then 2 years after the initial infection. Lung abnormalities at 6 months were 54%, and while they decreased over time, 39% of the patients who developed COVID pneumonia still had lung abnormalities 2 years after infection. Having COVID also increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. That's according to a new study which found people who developed the virus had an increased risk for new onset diabetes. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for people ages 5 to 24 years old in the U.S. And now new research suggests there were more deaths by suicide in young people than expected during the COVID-19 pandemic. Reporter Bradley Blackburn has more.
Lockdowns and school shutdowns during the first year of the pandemic left many young people feeling depressed, anxious, and isolated. Now, new research in the journal Pediatrics finds youth suicide rates increased in 2020. More than 5,500 youth died by suicide. 79% were male, and 50% died by firearm.
That really highlights the need for safe storage of firearms in the home. If you're a parent and you own guns, storing them safely is paramount to reducing risk for suicide.
Dr. Jeff Bridge is the director of the Center for Suicide Prevention at Nationwide Children's Hospital. He authored the study that also found more suicides during the pandemic compared to before among non-Hispanic American, Indian, Alaskan Native youth and Black youth.
We really need to tailor our suicide prevention strategies through a culturally informed lens.
Researchers stress suicide is preventable if those interventions can get to the young people most in need, both at school and at home.
There are several school-based suicide prevention programs. It is okay to ask your child if they're thinking about suicide. That will not put the thought in your child's head. There is very strong evidence that refutes that notion. Have that conversation.
Dr. Bridge says we need to have those mental health conversations with our children because it is just as important as their physical health. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Researchers also highlighted the higher than expected suicide rate among non-Hispanic, Asian, or Pacific Islander females as a cause for concern, as well as because this is a group of young people that usually has a very low rate of suicide. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, our pet vet on call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to tell you what makes birds so unique.
And I'm tracking severe storms down to our south and snow to the north. I'll have all the details on your forecast when we come back. Well, it's been a pretty nice Wednesday across most of the area with lots of sunshine and relatively warm temperatures. Some folks, though, that is not the case, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. Right now, let's look down in Seneca, Missouri at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. A beautiful evening shaping up on the warm side, just some alto cumulus out there, enjoying the nice evening. We made it up to 57 here in Joplin. 38 was the low, the normals are 50 and 29, so we were above normal. 78 the record, and -8 just 2 years ago in 2021. Now, let's take a look at the radar because we are watching some thunderstorms developing now down along the Red River. In fact, a severe thunderstorm warning is now being issued for that area just across the Red River. Storm watch is in effect until 10 o'clock tonight, and these storms are expected to move to the north and east as time goes on later on tonight. Temperatures are quite varied across the area. Take a look at this map. 39 in Iola right now, but it's 69 in Jay. So there's quite a contrast across our area as far as temperatures, and when you see that, you know it can't be up to no good. With temperatures in the mid-50s in the middle, 39 in Yates Center right now, 48 in Fort Scott, 67 down in Bella Vista. And that contrast in temperatures can be found also on the temperature change over the last 24 hours. 12 degrees colder now in Yates Center and 10 degrees warmer than it was 24 hours ago down in Bella Vista. And right in the middle, right here in Joplin, just about the same. All right, let's take a look at the dew points. They're increasing too on those south winds, generally in the 40s down to the south 30s up towards the north. Right now in Joplin, we're sitting at double nickel, and of course it feels like 55 degrees. Visibility is 10 miles. Pressure is 29.9 or 29.8 east-northeast wind at 7 miles per hour. Now the risk of severe weather is greatest in the Memphis, in the Mid-South area. That's where we're expecting the tornado activity later on tonight. However, there is a slight risk in northwestern Arkansas, in Bella Vista and Benton County areas. The risk of tornadoes is low, moderate on the hail and moderate on the wind, and also low on the heavy rain because these storms are going to be moving pretty quickly as they go through our area. Rain chances over the next 36 hours, greatest are going to be tonight, and then they drop off as we go through the next 36 hours. Let's take a look at it in more detail as we go through the maps. You can see that tonight, scattered showers and storms moving up across our area as we go through the evening hours. And by 10:30, we could start to see some winter mix up towards our north and west. That will continue into the overnight hours. Winds are going to be coming around to the north and west, and much colder air is going to be spilling in behind that storm system with lows in the 20s and 30s. Then tomorrow, temperatures are not going to get out of the 30s. It's going to struggle to get out of the 30s in our region with northwesterly winds. Then as we go through tomorrow night into Friday morning, we're going to see temperatures in the teens and 20s across our area. And then Friday afternoon, a little bit warmer, but not much, generally low 40s across the area. And then as we go through into Saturday morning, increasing clouds with temperatures near freezing. Rainfall amounts are going to be highest down to the south, lower up to the north and west. And this is actually going to be in the form of some winter-like precipitation. Over the next 7 days, we're going to be looking at quite a roller coaster, Dow. I mean, it's going to be up and down and all over the place, a little bit of everything for everybody, including some winter precipitation, but also some spring-like storms tonight, and then more rain midweek.
We need some precipitation. We don't need the wintry stuff necessarily.
That's exactly right.
Thanks, Sam.
All right.
Coming up, what the latest report shows about consumer price trends to start the new year. Topping today's Consumer Watch, consumer prices in January rose 6.4% over last year. The number shows that inflation is moderating at slightly less than December's increase of 6.5%, though it's higher than economists' predictions. Core inflation, which excludes food and energy costs, increased at an annual rate of 5.6%, also higher than economists had predicted. Ford is pausing production of its popular F-150 Lightning electric vehicle to investigate a potential battery issue. A spokesperson said so far the company is unaware of any incidents out on the road. It comes a day after Ford announced it's investing $3.5 billion into a new battery plant in Michigan. Ford also says it's slashing nearly 4,000 jobs in Europe as it focuses on its U.S. EV operations. The restaurant business can be tough, and the pandemic hit the industry particularly hard. But as Michael George shows us, some social media influencers are now using their platform to support small restaurants.
Amrit Paul Singh came to New York from India to start his own restaurant. He named it Angel after his daughter. But just 6 months after opening, the pandemic shut down the city.
COVID was very tough for you.
Yes, very tough. Sometime I came here, I don't get any single customer here and I go home back.
But recently, he got a boost from an unexpected place, social media.
Angel Indian restaurant rightly became known for their biryani, but the Adaraki lamb might be our favorite dish here.
Cy Willis and Lauren McGill are food influencers. Their channel, Consuming Couple, has more than 400,000 followers on TikTok. They like to highlight smaller, lesser-known spots, like Angel. How do you find these places?
Yeah, really just diving into the research. I like going down a few rabbit holes and just seeing what we can find.
We like to try new stuff and we don't want to get stuck in our own little bubble.
Just one post from Consuming Couple brought in crowds of new customers.
They actually help me a lot here. I get maybe 100 customers here. They tell me I see your video in Instagram also and TikTok also.
My dish, it's gotta be torched on fire tableside.
Nom Life, an LA-based food blog with 300,000 followers, also encourages viewers to try hidden gems in their community.
So for us, it's really always been really passionate about highlighting local restaurants and businesses.
You just have to get out there and try. Like sometimes you're gonna like it, sometimes you're not, sometimes you'll love it, but it's all part of the experience.
Giving their followers a taste of something new while giving restaurants a helping hand. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
A marketing industry influencer survey found that 62% of consumers say they are more likely to try something if it's recommended by an influencer they follow. Our pet vet on call next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, how instruments that were nearly lost during World War II are being used to teach a new generation about music. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to hear more from the Kansas City Chiefs at their big Super Bowl parade and rally today. Plus, the city of Joplin applies for a $1 million grant for repairs to the Donald D. Clark Justice Center. And we're going to hear from a rehab facility official on how expunging marijuana cases could decrease the stigma surrounding marijuana. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Every type of animal is unique. Today, our pet vet on call has a fun fact for us about birds.
If you were asked what makes birds unique among all the animals, I bet the things you come up with were not exactly accurate. For instance, you'd probably say that birds fly, right? Well, so do bats, and they're mammals, so that's not necessarily all that unique. Birds lay eggs, but so do turtles and lizards, so that's not really all that unique. They make nests to have their eggs in. Well, so do rabbits and squirrels and mice, so that's not really unique. They have scales on their legs, but so do fish, so that's not really unique. So the one thing that makes birds unique is feathers. Feathers make them the most unique.
Hey, we invite questions from anyone. If you have a question, you just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question or brings us a fun fact every Wednesday on KOAM News at 5. You can also find answers to previous questions on our website. Now let's check out our picks of the litter for the week. From the Joplin Humane Society, we've chosen this 1 to 2 year old male shepherd mix. They say he's high energy. He does come when called. His name is Ralphie. And from the Southeast Kansas Humane Society, we've chosen this male kitten, domestic long hair. His name is Pot Roast.
That's making me hungry.
Yeah, sounds good. If you're looking for a pet, why not check out your local Humane Society? Why he is named Pot Roast, I do not know. Probably because somebody loves pot roast and loves the kitten.
Yeah, absolutely.
The weather.
We have some storms developing down to our south and west. We're watching radar, and if anything gets out of hand, we'll be sure to let you know. And then looking at the forecast, it's going to be a mixed bag across the area with temperatures pretty cold the next couple of days, but then warmer towards the weekend.
Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.